This is the Radio 1 News Update for November 4th. I'm Lady Miriam. In local news, the Ministry of Mines and Energy acknowledged that smuggling and illegal mining, as well as corruption or tax fraud, may have contributed to hundreds of millions of dollars worth of discrepancies in data on sand exports to Singapore. The ministry said, quote, "The responsible management of the sand business still faces some problems, but that it is re-examining the matter with care." The controversy concerns UN data showing $752 million of imports to sand from Cambodia to Singapore since 2007, despite the kingdom only reporting about $5 million in exports to the small nation. The Ministry of Cults and Religion said it received at least 3 reports of people pretending to work for the ministry to scam local cults and religion departments in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, and has forwarded the case to the Ministry of Interior to take legal action against the fraudsters. The scammers are lying by saying they are officials working in the ministry and calling to raise money to build a pagoda and arranging religious events and requesting people to transfer the money via Wing or other banks for their own benefit. The body of former Prime Minister Pen Sovann arrived at Phnom Penh's Wat Tan Pagoda with opposition officials and representatives of his family set for a meeting at City Hall to push the case to cremate him at Wat Patum Park. Sovann's family and the committee have requested to hold the cremation in front of Wat Patum, but so far they have not received a positive response. Sovann's body will be kept at Wat Tan until Sunday's ceremony. Authorities seized over 100 cartons of 555 brand cigarettes carrying neither warning labels nor import seals from 2 shops in Kampot. The operation was conducted following complaints by tobacco companies, prompting authorities to intervene and inspect the cigarettes, which were found disguised in Mevius and Fine cigarette packaging. Aid and development professionals moving their families to Cambodia may hope that the experience will foster a sense of open-mindedness and societal responsibility in their children, but a new study suggests otherwise. The study was the product of 5 years of interviews conducted in Phnom Penh with foreign aid professionals, their children, and their teachers by anthropologist Dr. Anne Mikey Fetcher. She discovered that a belief in their own open-mindedness, as supposedly brought about by growing up in Cambodia, often led to a feeling of superiority. One country director for an international aid organization who spoke on condition of anonymity said this week that he will be moving his 11-year-old son out of the country soon to avoid what he described as a culture of gangsterism in Cambodia. He said, quote, "Some people think that you send your kids to school with elites, they'll become elites. I don't. I think they become a gangster," he said. Northbridge principal Sarah Osborne James said that the school has to address these issues in a very sensitive way, but maintained that if students graduated without an appreciation of the political realities outside the school gate, quote, "We haven't done our job in making these students aware globally and of their surroundings." In regional news, embattled South Korean President Park Geun-hye has sacked the country's prime minister amid an ongoing political scandal that threatens to topple her administration. In an apparent attempt to stem the scandal, Park nominated 3 new senior officials to her cabinet. Kim Byung-jun, a professor at Seoul's Kookmin University, will replace Hwang Ko-an as prime minister. Protesters have been calling for Park to resign since revelations last week that her confidant and spiritual advisor, Choi Soon-sil, may have seen secret government documents and influenced policy. Well, if someone is your confidant and spiritual advisor, most likely, yes, that's what their purpose is to influence your decisions and give you advice, right? Seems like a no-brainer. South Korea's Coast Guard opened fire at Chinese boats illegally fishing within its territorial waters. No one was hurt and nothing was damaged after the Coast Guard fired its M60 into the sky as boats fled, despite being ordered to stop. South Korea has been cracking down on illegal fishing by Chinese vessels in its water and even confiscated a Chinese ship after its crew took up arms against the Koreans. In international news, jihadist leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi called on his Baghdadi. I just realized, I think I said that wrong. Jihadist leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi called on his fighters to resist as Iraqi forces were poised to enter the city of Mosul, where he declared a caliphate 2 years ago. The appeal was made in an audio recording released on the internet and purported to be by the elusive leader of the Islamic State group, his first message this year. President Barack Obama said the U.S. government is examining ways to reroute an oil pipeline in North Dakota as it addresses concerns raised by Native American tribes protesting against its construction. The Russian president on Wednesday offered a new unilateral humanitarian pause for Syria's war-ravaged Aleppo, urging rebels to use it to leave the city's eastern besieged districts. The Syrian rebels quickly dismissed Vladimir Putin's initiative. In business news, the bank assure model, which still relatively is undeveloped in Cambodia, has huge potential to drive the growth of the insurance sector. Rising incomes in Cambodia were expanding consumer demand for insurance products, while banks offer an ideal platform for the sale of these products. Reduced government fees on mandatory scanning of rice container shipments, which went into effect this week, will shave a few dollars off each shipment, helping rice producers lower cost in a highly competitive international market. Under the new scheme, the ministry has reduced the fee on scans of containerized rice shipments from $32 to $16 for 40-foot containers, and down from $20 to $10 for containers under 40 feet. The new prices were rolled out on Tuesday and will stay in effect until the end of 2018. Australian mining firm Emerald Resources expects to complete a definitive feasibility study for its Ankbao gold project in Mondulkiri province by next year, with gold production to commence by the end of 2018. A capital investment of $120 million could put a mine into operation producing around 91,500 ounces of gold per year for 8 years. Emerald projects a payback on this investment in 2.7 years based on gold trading at $1,250 per ounce. The government announced that it will hold its first public auction for 4G spectrum frequencies, with 2 licenses up for bid on frequencies reassigned after their original license holders failed to utilize them. The 2 licenses cover the 800 megahertz and 2600 megahertz band of the spectrum, and will offer mobile network operators additional wireless bandwidth to expand their 4G networks. T-Shop Cambodia, a Phnom Penh-based electronics distributor, is planning an aggressive push into the provinces through company-owned and franchise outlets, and will look to raise the capital for expansion by offering shares on the local stock exchange. The expansion will require heavy capital, some of it coming through franchise licenses, with the remainder expecting to be raised through an initial public offering on the Cambodia Security Exchange. This has been the Radio 1 News Update. Stay tuned for more news on Radio 1 FM 103.7.